Hi darlings, thank you so much for joining me on my channel today. And today I have a retreat recap video for you guys. I attended my dear friend Mindy's fall retreat. It is her first retreat and it is the Called, Chosen, and Crafting Retreat it was a fall retreat 2025. You guys, I just came back from this retreat and I just feel so full, so refreshed. And I love retreats because it's a time to kind of get away from the daily wife, mom, church responsibilities and duties and kind of get together with some like-minded women. You get to meet beautiful women of God. You get to meet your online friends, which I have done so many times. And so this retreat was no different. Lots of coffee, lots of time with Jesus, lots of crafting, which are all my favorite things. So I just enjoyed, I had a great time. And so she threw an amazing retreat and she threw it at the Holly Mountain Lodge, which is my dear friend also, Paula. I call her P2. She has this beautiful, beautiful retreat home in Georgia, and you're in nature and you're secluded, and it's like a step away from busy city life. I live in a small town, but it's a step away. It's beautiful. And I just loved it. And I thought I would share with you guys a recap. I know a lot of you follow me on Instagram, so you may have seen some of my adventures over on Instagram. I also have a highlight with some pictures. And I want to share with you the goodies, what I made, goodies that, Mindy blessed us with, so on and so forth. And some of the things I can't fully show you because I've already used them as I was crafting, but I want to show you what I have. So first and foremost, she had a schedule for us, and don't mind the washi, that's just covering up address and some information that's private. But it was the Called, Chosen, and Crafting Fall Retreat 2025. It was from October 30th to November 2nd. There is like a schedule, kind of a breakdown of what we did on Thursday, what we did on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, meals, all of the times for devotional, tons of free time also. And, I love free time because that's when I'm like, okay, let me go take a quick nap, because we do craft and talk about Jesus pretty late. We're crafting, sharing, talking, praying for each other. And sometimes we're up pretty late. And if you guys probably don't know this about me, but I am a early bird, and most of these girls are night owls. So for me to be able to hang, I do take a step away to take some time to take naps and stuff, but you don't have to do this. I'm just saying what I do. So tons of free time as well, so you can craft and work on your own projects. This was super fun. She also printed for us the scripture writing from By the Well for God for the month of November, which was sweet because we created a gratitude journal. So this was kind of available for us to have so we can work for our November journal. So I thought that was sweet. Okay, so placing that aside. So the first day we kind of checked in, we had dinner, we got our presents, which were our goodies. And in our goodies came this beautiful book called 1000 Gifts Devotional by Anne Voskamp. I know I'm saying that wrong. And everyone received this, and in the back it has kind of some line spaces for you to start your journaling your 1000 gifts, and it's kind of like a devotional, and it has such a sweet heart behind it. I have been reading it and kind of doing my prayer journaling and going through this since that day. A friend of mine, another friend that attended the retreat, her name is Sandy, and she made us these beautiful little bookmarks, and I just love this, and so I've been using it. Another friend of mine, and most of these women I had met multiple times at different retreats. She is a beautiful artist as well, and she created this bookmark for us, which I love, and I've been keeping over here in the back. So I got those goodies from some of the ladies. And so this book is Reflection on Finding Everyday Graces. It talks a lot about gratitude being the posture of the heart, and so on and so forth. And this was just super sweet. So I started reading it while I was there. And then we created on Friday, we created some gratitude journals. So wait, I'm trying to find it. Yes, this is the this is the top. So we got a kit. So this book came wrapped up in this beautiful packaging, which I kept because hello, packaging. And then we got a kit the next day. That was on the first day. The next day we got another kit. The kit came with the fabric. It came with papers. It came with waxed thread, which you use for the binding because she taught us how to do that. It came with an awl. I said it right, girls. I know. I was going to say but it's an awl. It came with a couple of needles that have different widths. And it came with clips. Let me bring the clips over here. It came with some clips and it came with a bottle of glue. And I think this is barely art glue that is in here. So, and it came with quite a bit. And so all of these things came and it was wrapped up like beautifully. And and we got this little beautiful little ledger purse that was made by McKenna, which is Mindy's daughter. And it came with wax seals as well. I'll just bring a couple out because these were so cute. Some wax seals as well that we can add to our projects. And tons of papers. So setting this aside, tons of papers, and I used a lot in these projects and I still had a lot left. And then also like a set of coffee dyed papers. Also some of the other ladies, they also brought us these are so fun. These are vintage papers and I cannot wait to get this into a journal. These were a little big for the 2 journals that I made, but I have some ideas in mind for this. So tons of goodies, you guys. So then we created this journal. So we learned how to make the chain stitch and bind our journals. Mine has 2 different signatures. And I know it looks like a lot because it is a lot. It has 2 different signatures. So she taught us how to make this. It has cardboard for the back and front and the spine. We did 2 different signatures and I basically filled it up with lots of vintage papers. And then we learned how to bind it. And we used this chain stitch. In the front here, I created like a little beginning page. I want to put like my family picture in this Polaroid. But these leaves, these embossed leaves and this Polaroid was actually gifted to us from Anne in a little package along with that bookmark with the little bird that she gave us. And so I just filled this up with a lots of vintage papers that she gave us, kind of like book folios. And I just started filling this up. On this coffee dye paper, I kind of stenciled some coffee rings. And you can see the stitch there. And then, just making little pockets. And this is filled, you guys, because I really filled this up because I wanted it to be ready to use once I got home. I love these vintage, these kind of like our agenda pages with old dates. I love those. This is kind of music paper that I created into a pocket. This was given to us by one of the ladies. Some old German book pages. Love. This burgundy little file folder that I created into a pocket was also in that little kit that Anne gave us. I loved that. I mean, these ladies are so sweet. Lots of vintage goodies were given to us. This is the other half of that music paper. And again, I made pockets and kind of decorated. It's a quick little flip through. Again, super sweet. So this will be part of my gratitude notebook for the month of November. And then, so that was Friday. On Saturday, we had another kit with goodies. And in that kit, we also got a hymnal. And it was wrapped up in this beautiful satin ribbon. And you guys, I have one other hymnal, but I love hymnals and especially vintage ones because they have beautiful patinas. And so I have all these beautiful hymnal pages and I love that. So thank you. I believe Cherie helped get these, if I'm not mistaken. So thank you. And then we have... we did a little golden book project, and this is taking a little golden book and basically repurposing it. And for this one, we did a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. And so this is kind of like the golden book. And as you guys know, it's really thin, but we made it so that now it has a 1-inch spine. So that was cool. She taught us how to do that. And so I decided to keep the inner pages because they have the sweetest prayers for children. And so I decided to keep the inner pages and then to just put in a mix of the vintage papers that I had. So here are some, like this one. I love that. This is German as well. I love the vintage old school pictures. Here's a morning prayer. Here's a kind of like I thank God, and it has a quote by Mary L. Duncan. Here is a vintage, or this is coffee paper made into like a little pocket. Here is some more of that music paper that you saw in my other journal. And I made like a tuck-in spot here, another little pocket here, and you can see kind of like where the signature middle part is here. Love these. And then I have another pocket here. This is the other side of the pocket. Here is kind of the gray elephant. That's a poem. Here is a quote by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Sorry. Here is a prayer by Ralph Waldo Emerson. This is German vintage paper. I love this beautiful scene with the girl just galloping in her backyard or front yard. The Lord's Prayer. The other side of that vintage paper. Oh, this is the middle. So this is the beginning of the second signature. The doxology. I love this. The mom with the little kid. A hymn, evening hymn. Another quote from Mary L. Duncan. And I should say poem. These are poems. I apologize. A Child's Prayer by M. Betham Edwards. Coffee dyed paper with a little pocket there. I loved this spread, so I wanted to keep this. I wanted to keep this intact with nothing in the middle. This is Jesus from Thy Throne on High. It's a poem by Thomas B. Pollock. Another poem here, A Good Way, Mary Dixon Thayer. And then I use this paper kind of in the middle. It's a vintage kind of practice lesson paper. This is like a typing paper. And I kind of created because the signature runs around the middle, I kind of created a double pocket, and I put some kind of some tags there that I made to kind of hold. I love the mom waiting for her son coming home. A good night prayer, and I created like a little mini pocket here. And there's a folio right here in the middle. I love that. Some old vintage book papers. A bedtime prayer. Good night. A little sweet poem. God Watches Us by Gabriel Stutton. And it finishes off with an evening prayer. And it has the little hymn or the music, so you can go ahead and play that. I'm not going to play it, but you know what I mean. And then the other half of that vintage paper. Isn't that cute? I added some pom-poms along the side, and I left some of the thread kind of long so I can add some charms. That came out super cute. I had never done a golden book in this way. Usually I just kind of break it open, or the one other time I did it, I kind of just broke it open and then put it on rings. But this was fun to kind of reconstruct. So that is kind of a look at everything. I did win in a giveaway this book, which is called Quiet, Creating Grace-Based Rhythms for Spending Time with Jesus. So this is going to be on my TDR. And that is it. That is a wrap at the recap. I'm going to insert a couple of the pictures here at the end. And you guys, if you have the opportunity to invest into going to a retreat, I totally recommend it. It is the sweetest time. And I just want to share, at the end of the retreat, we got these little thank you cards with these little yarn hearts. And this, you guys, this is like the sweetest thing. And I just, every time I see it, I think of my sweet friends McKenna and Mindy. McKenna made this, which is her daughter, and I'm just so full, and I'm so thankful that I got to spend the weekend with my friends. And I hope that one day you get to experience that beautiful friendship and that beautiful time together as well. So that is it for this video. If you are new here, I hope you consider subscribing, hit the like button and notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. And thank you so much for joining me each and every video, darlings. God bless. Bye.